I'd just like to welcome those of you that I recognise from the last two times, and certainly, as Kim has said, and a welcome to those of you who have come on board today. This is really a great day. It really doesn't matter which way you look at it. From our point of view, it's the culmination of a process of learning. So by putting the icing on the cake today, that's just excellent. The topsoil's moist, the sun's shining, the C4 native grasses are screaming, and they're saying, look at me, look at us. And we're screaming back, we are, we sure are. We hear you. We can't believe you've been lost from our grazing landscapes for so long. Not such a good day for the many annual weeds and clovers who've been fooled into thinking that it's autumn. Well, it's not. And just look at the February and March maximum temperatures on the data sheet that's down there from 2008 to 2015, and it's summer, and it will be in a day or two, or it's in a week or two, and the heat waves will be on again, and the poor old annual grasses and broadleaf weeds, and unfortunately for some of the graziers, the clovers, will be dead in not too long a time. So as soon as that topsoil dries out, they're gone. The long days and the severe heat are enough to do that for them. However, provided no animals get onto those lands, then the soil gets a chance to stabilise a bit with a little bit of root growth. Hopefully that stops some of the erosion that we could still have with big downpours of rain, which takes me to a brief review on that. Yep, so how bad can it get? Well, as we saw, pretty bad. If you're leaving land like that in summer, which heaps of people do, the land just goes backwards. There has been no solution to that until now, but that's still only part of the solution, because the reason why all of those properties look like that is because of poor management. And so we're the problem, and so we have to deal with that somehow. So in those summer shots, you've been looking at no perennial grasses, dead and gone annuals, no ground cover at all, soil temperatures over 50 degrees, massive soil loss with any big rainfall event. And that's what happens after a big rainfall event. That's called rill erosion, and it was in this catchment. So the whole hillside can't survive the downpour, and there are no roots in the system. And pretty much what you're looking at there is just water and sheep shit and cow shit pouring off the paddocks, straight into the Torrens, straight into a water catchment. And that's just the mainstream. Then you can go elsewhere and look at the third order streams, significant streams that run through some properties, and exactly the same thing's happening. I'll leave those there. The other thing is the sick subsoil. I'll have to move again in a sec, Miriam. That's my first soil report in 1986, and it has only 7 things on it. Things like pH, soil texture, soil salinity, organic carbon, sodium extractable, potassium, etc., electrical conductivity. That's one way of looking at your soils. The other way is to look at the life in the soil. This is a chap called James Nundy from America, and it's his soil pyramid, square metre of soil and what's in it. And we are talking about millions of bacteria, millions of kilometres of soil fungi that harvest water and store nutrients and release them when the plant needs it. So that can be measured. And there are people in Australia who do that. This is soil food web analysis. There are more than 7 things here, and there's far more explanatory detail, because this is the Mother Earth stuff. This is the Earth a living system, and that means from the sky to the depths. Sorry, could you grab it? Thanks. Why did I make a big thing about this in our introductory session? That is the soil problem. Well, you wouldn't know it in the Mount Lofty Ranges, but we've just been through the International Year of Soils. So the 68th General Assembly of the United Nations said things are pretty bad, not just in the Torrens catchment, but they're pretty bad worldwide. So something has to be done. And they handed over the International Year of Soils to the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organisation. A lot was done in the Murray-Darling Basin that I've seen recorded, but we kind of didn't see the nasty nose on our face sort of thing around here. So, same as before, if we don't lift our game, then we're no game to play. Nothing's changed, except the forecast is probably looking a little worse than it did back in June when we looked at this first. Just a reminder about the drought timeline and the compression that is part of the warming process. The rainfall, this figure wasn't there in June, so now it's 470. 2008, 492, 470. My notes tell me 1914, 421, 1944, 478, 1959, 453, 1976, 419, 1982, 374. We had to have Ash Wednesday. There was no way out of it if the ground is so dry and the vegetation is so dry. And that's what happened this year. Bad last year, very poor winter and very dry spring, and this year has been as bad, if not worse. And we're not visiting Pauline's today, and she's in fact working in Tasmania this weekend. But on the chart just around the corner, I took photos sort of walking up her site and then across the top and coming back down. So that's the progression of photos. I'll give you some idea. There's some good stuff there, but there's a lot of weed, and of course she had no water to put on the place, and so things just kind of stopped. 1992 is the last record I've got. I'm chasing the ones between 93 and 2007 to see whether there's this compression figure again in the rainfall. But 1992, of course, was the highest that's ever been recorded in Birdwood at 1,189 millimetres. And one of the things that happens to the human animal is that makes us feel good for a while. You know, we kind of lose the plot then for a bit. Reminder about the El Nino cycle. In recent times, every 2 to 7 years, and we're certainly in a significant one at present. So, just a reminder, we aren't offering you miracles, but we certainly are offering you the very best information, which started in our first presentation in June, the very best information that you can possibly get, and compressing it into 3 sessions. So today in a sense, will be the culmination of that, because this is kind of what it's all about. This is getting the transformation. Getting the transformation that a whole lot of other people haven't been able to do. And maybe I'm putting myself between a rock and a hard place, but I can't see any way that anyone else can do this as, dare I say it, as easily as you have the potential to do it. So, when we get the unexpected couple of big rainfall events in summer, the native grasses will respond in a big way, and boy will you see that today. So yes, thanks to Huey or whoever, the rainmaker or whatever, we have got enough rain to make that a very important statement. And Kim has mentioned the co-op clusters. I'm reminding you that you've always got a problem if you've got hard-hooved animals on Australian pastures that haven't evolved with them. And the challenge to do the restoration. My challenge is still the same to you. It's still, can the Sisterhood of Horse Enthusiasts be the catalyst for landscape change in the Mount Lofty ranges? And even through the process that we've been through and meeting you, I'm sure believe we can. Thank you.